Welcome to this edition of the Deep Dive. We've got a fascinating set of ideas here today, almost like one source called it a life OS, a kind of blueprint for high performance.
Yeah, it's a really rich collection, covers a lot of ground.
Exactly. So think of this as us unpacking the core principles from these documents. We'll give you a bird's eye view, strategies for thinking better, personal growth, even building a legacy.
Right. The idea isn't to get totally bogged down in any one thing today.
No, definitely not. The aim is really to give you, the listener, the essential framework, the main takeaways across all these topics.
So you can kind of get the big picture and then maybe figure out what areas you want to explore more later on your own.
Perfect. So let's dive straight in. Thinking and strategy first.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Well, one of the big ones is second-order thinking. It's about not just looking at the immediate result.
Right. It's looking beyond that first effect. You have to consider the consequences of the consequences.
Okay, so if I do X, Y happens immediately. But what happens because of Y?
Precisely. And what happens after that? Both the good stuff and the bad stuff. Further down the line. It's key for, solid long-term decisions.
That makes sense. And then there's inversion thinking, which feels related but different. It's like flipping the question.
Exactly. Instead of asking, how do I make this succeed, you ask, okay, how could this completely fail?
Why do that?
Well, it forces you to see the potential pitfalls, the hidden weaknesses you might miss if you're only focused on the positive outcome. It's like stress testing your ideas.
Right, to build resilience into the plan from the start. Okay.
And that connects to another idea here, strategic patience.
Ah, yes. In a world that wants everything now.
Totally. This emphasizes, the long game. Consistent effort pays off, sometimes way more than chasing quick wins. Big achievements often need that sustained focus.
It's about the compounding effect, isn't it?
Absolutely. Compounding results over time requires delaying gratification sometimes.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly to mental models. These are like frameworks for thinking.
Yeah, ways to understand the world. The iceberg model is a classic example mentioned.
What you see is just the tip, right?
Right. The visible stuff behavior, events, is often driven by much deeper, unseen things like beliefs, structures, assumptions. You need to look under the surface.
Got it. And then there's the 4L lens for opportunities. Learn, leverage,
loop, and let go. Yeah. It's a neat little checklist when you're looking at something new.
So does it help me learn something?
Mm-hmm.
Can I leverage what I already know or have? Is there a feedback loop for improvement?
Exactly. Or does it allow me to let go of something that's maybe not working anymore? An opportunity should ideally tick at least one of those boxes.
Okay. And for deciding which opportunities to take, there's the opportunity filter. Cost, conviction, compounding.
Right. This adds some discipline. What's
Yeah.
the real cost, time, energy, not just money? How much do you truly believe in it? That's conviction.
And the compounding part.
Will it build on itself?
Yeah.
Generate bigger returns over time. It helps you avoid spreading yourself too thin on things that won't really grow.
Makes sense. Okay, let's move into personal growth. The skill of letting go really stood out to me.
Yeah. It's powerful. Shedding old beliefs, bad habits, maybe even grudges or past failures that are just weighing you down.
Freeing up mental space, essentially.
Exactly. Energy for what's next.
And foundational to that seems to be emotional regulation. The sources almost treat it like a superpower.
Oh, it kind of is, isn't it? Being able to manage your emotions, especially under pressure, leads to clearer thinking, better decisions, just more stability overall.
Responding instead of reacting.
That's a great way to put it.
Then there's this interesting take on goals. Identity-based goals.
Yeah. So instead of just, I want to achieve X, it's more like, I am the kind of person who does X.
So I am a writer rather than I want to finish a novel.
Precisely. The idea is that anchoring the goal to your identity makes the necessary actions feel more natural, more aligned, and maybe more sustainable.
Interesting. What about accepting boredom? That sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah, but it's crucial for mastery, apparently. Progress isn't always exciting. Sometimes it's just practice, repetition, the grind.
Finding meaning in that repetition.
Right. Recognizing that the seemingly boring parts are actually where a lot of the skill building happens.
And related to sticking with it, there's anticipating resistance.
Yeah.
And designing your environment, not just relying on willpower.
Yes. This is huge. Instead of just gritting your teeth, you proactively figure out what might trip you up and then set up your space, your routines to make the right choices easier.
Engineering success, in a way?
Pretty much. Making the path of least resistance the path you want to take.
We also see self-talk. mentioned as a performance tool.
Absolutely. That internal dialogue, making it positive, constructive, honest, can have a massive impact on confidence, focus, and how you handle setbacks.
And speaking of setbacks, normalizing the dip.
Yeah, that inevitable plateau or even slight regression when you're learning something complex.
It's not failure, it's just part of the process.
Exactly. Expect it, understand it, and push through it. That's what people who achieve mastery do.
I like the reframe of hard things as training.
Changes the perspective completely. Challenges aren't just obstacles, they're opportunities to get stronger, build skills, develop resilience.
Like mental weightlifting.
Kind of, yeah. And to make sure that training is effective, you need feedback.
Building in ways to know how you're doing.
Right. Whether it's asking others, tracking metrics, or just structured self-reflection, feedback is how you adjust and improve.
And instead of just waiting for inspiration, the idea is to build rituals.
Because motivation comes and goes, right? But rituals, habits, routines, they ensure you keep showing up, keep making progress, even when you don't feel like it.
Consistency over intensity, maybe.
Often, yes, though ideally both. But consistency is the foundation.
And to keep that consistency pointed in the right direction. Work from vision, not urgency.
Yeah, avoiding the trap of constantly putting out fires or chasing the latest urgent thing, keeping your eye on the bigger picture, your long-term goals and values. Strategic focus.
The character compass. Boldness, integrity, curiosity, ownership is also mentioned as important for the long haul.
Seems like a solid foundation. These traits guide good decisions, build trust, fuel learning. They seem predictive of sustainable success and maybe fulfillment too.
And a good gut check for that is the fog test.
Ah, yes. Would I still do this if absolutely no one knew?
Cuts right to the core motivation, doesn't it? Is it intrinsic or just for show?
Exactly. Are you doing it for the validation or because it genuinely aligns with who you are and what you value?
Okay, let's pivot to reputation and relationships. Reputation as leverage is a powerful concept.
Definitely. A good reputation built on trust, competence, integrity. It doesn't just feel good, it does good. It opens doors, attracts opportunities, compounds over time like an asset.
But sometimes doing important work means you might ruffle feathers. Hence, the courage to be disliked.
Right. If you're challenging norms or taking a stand for something meaningful, not everyone will approve. You need the conviction to proceed anyway if you believe it's the right path.
Okay. Now for the money side. Financial acumen, value creation. Value is perception x trust.
That's interesting.
It is. Your value isn't just what you do, it's how valuable others perceive it to be and how much they trust you to deliver. Both perception and trust are key.
And to scale that value, we need leverage. Code, content, capital, people.
These are the multipliers, the ways to escape just trading your time directly for money. They let you scale your impact and your income way beyond what one person can do hour by hour.
So focus on developing high-income skills, not just high-effort ones.
That's the advice, yeah. Skills that directly solve valuable problems or create significant value. Things like sales, marketing, strategy, automation tend to command higher returns than just working hard at less leveraged tasks.
And thinking like a media company fits in here too. Building an audience. It seems increasingly important. If you can build an audience, share your expertise, create valuable content, you build authority and open up all sorts of opportunities. Your voice becomes leverage.
Especially if you focus on solving expensive problems for specific people.
Exactly. Niche down. Find a group with a significant, costly pain point and become the go-to solution. That allows you to command higher value.
And in building anything sustainable, understand acquisition versus retention.
Getting new customers is vital, of course, but keeping the ones you have happy, nurturing those relationships, that's often more profitable and stable long-term, retention builds a foundation.
The core message seems to be, stop trading time for money, build assets.
That's the fundamental shift for wealth creation, yeah. Create
right.
things, products, systems, content, businesses that can generate value without requiring your direct minute-by-minute input.
Which requires unlearning employee mindsets.
Right. Shifting from just doing tasks to thinking like an owner. Taking initiative, focusing on outcomes, taking responsibility, seeing the bigger picture.
And diversify. Thinking in portfolios, not just money, but skills, income streams, relationships.
Build resilience. If one area takes a hit, you're not totally exposed. Diversification across life domains makes you more robust.
Finally, on the financial side, you get what you negotiate.
Yeah, a blunt reminder. Know your worth, articulate it, and be prepared to ask for it. Don't just assume fairness. Advocate for yourself.
Okay, last big section. Legacy and long-term impact. This starts with thinking in decades, not days.
Shifting that time horizon way out. What impact do you want to have over the long run? What will matter in 10, 20, 30 years?
Which leads to building systems that outlive you.
Yeah, not just being the hero solving today's problem, but creating processes, teams, cultures that can continue to thrive and generate value even when you're not directly involved.
Making your reputation a distribution engine comes up again here.
Because a strong reputation helps your ideas and influence spread further, amplifying your impact long after you've shared them.
And leading through values, not control.
This creates sustainability. If people are guided by shared values, they can act autonomously and make good decisions without constant oversight. It builds a stronger, more adaptable culture.
We also need to learn to multiply, not just add effort, leverage again.
Exactly. Always be thinking, how can I amplify this? Through technology, collaboration, systems, get more output than just the sum of individual inputs.
And designing for transferability, making your work usable by others.
So they can build on it. Shareable knowledge, adaptable tools, clear processes, these allow your impact to ripple outwards and continue evolving.
And to achieve any of this big stuff, you have to say no to good so you can say yes to great. Ruthless prioritization.
Absolutely essential. There are always countless good things you could do. Focusing energy on the truly great opportunities requires actively declining the merely good ones.
Okay, wrapping up with action and mindset. Your default mode matters more than your peak.
Love this one. It's not about occasional heroic efforts. It's about your baseline. Your consistent habits, your systems, that's what determines long-term results. Much more than a few moments of peak performance.
And talent and courage work together, compounding each other.
Talent is potential, but courage unlocks it. Taking risks, trying things, learning from failures, that's courage in action, and it grows your talent.
There's also the idea of stacking identity plus discipline plus leverage.
Powerful combo. Know who you are, identity, do the work consistently, discipline, and amplify your efforts intelligently. Leverage. That seems like a recipe for unstoppable momentum.
Fueled by intrinsic motivation.
The ultimate sustainable energy source. Doing things because they matter to you, because they align with your values and passions, not just for external rewards.
And we end right back where we started, in a way, with understanding what you see versus what drives it, the iceberg model again.
It's a constant reminder, isn't it? Always look deeper. Understand the underlying forces, the hidden patterns, the real motivations behind what's visible on the surface. Applies everywhere.
So yeah, as you can hear, it's a really dense but incredibly useful set of concepts, a whole framework for performance and meaning.
Definitely. We've really just skimmed the surface today, giving that high-level overview of these core ideas: mindset, growth, finance, legacy.
Right. The goal was synthesis, to give you a foundation so you can now reflect. What resonated? What sparked your curiosity?
Exactly. Which of these ideas feel most relevant to your current situation, your goals, your challenges right now?
So we encourage you to maybe revisit some of these points mentally.
And perhaps, as a final thought to take away, if you had to pick just one concept from everything we've touched on today, which one, if you truly embraced it, do you think would create the biggest positive ripple in your life? What will you choose to explore further?